Come on, mouse. I need your help. Why don't I see you? Hello.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
And young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you.
But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you.
Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you.
And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome, welcome, welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, North American continent, Western Hemisphere, on this planet Earth, the only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is Kennedy Effect, TKE tonight, live with you for the 13th of May, 2025. Happy Tuesday, a very rainy Tuesday here in the Lehigh Valley. Randall's question straight out of the gate. Why do I have to keep switching back and forth between the audio and the video in the comments section? I don't have an effing clue. No idea. None whatsoever. This is the joy of the wonderful program that I pay for every month that no one on our station really knows how to use and hasn't helped anybody. How's that for an honest answer straight out of the gate? I don't have a bloody effing flipping clue. How's that sound? How's that? How's that work? Good? Bloody hell. I don't know. I don't know why the video square shrinks to the size of a penny every time I switch windows. I don't know. But thank God I'm paying for it. Thank goodness for that. Oh. The future really looks bright if we could ever make it to the future. George knows exactly what I'm flippin' talking about, too, isn't it? He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. We have a surprise guest. And anytime... Wait, what does that shirt say? I need to see that World Series. What is that then?
World Series Cubs.
Oh, that is an older one.
I'm Chicago, so what can I say?
Well, right. No, you should. Anyway, let's start off the program here. Let's get everything set. Let's tell you what the heck is happening here. This is TKE Tonight live with you for the 13th of May. My goodness, we are already just about, halfway through May already of 2025. But then again, this regime can't end fast enough, so the faster it can go, the better. I'm good with that. You are watching live on the Facebook pages of Our Revolution Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group, Ghost Claw Productions, and of course Hot101.net. We are live on our home group Facebook page for all things that surround this program, That Other Side of Information. We are also live on 100, and I will try to figure out how many places I have shared to tonight. We hope, maybe, trying. How many places have we shared to tonight? 107. To 107 different places that we've shared across the Facebook universe. We are live on YouTube, not just one but two channels, Ghost Claw Productions Radio and That Other Side of Information. The audio of the program, of course, blasting around the globe via two global internet radio giants. One of the very first, Hot101.net. Hot101.net, our name is our web address. If you can connect to the internet anywhere below, on, or above Earth, you can listen to Hot101.net, and you can listen 100% for free. Free is always the best price. Can't tariff free. Can't put inflation on free. It's free. Free is free. So it's free, by the way, did I mention. Hot101.net. You don't need our main website to listen to, though. However, you can use our apps. Apple App Store for Apple devices, Google Play Store for Android devices. If you should have any other type of device, please go to the TuneIn radio app. Go up to the search bar, type in hot101.net, and you are listening. GCPR, of course, gcpr.live, Ghost Claw Productions Radio.live. You can listen to us on our website. You can also learn everything that you ever wanted to know about the station and more. There will be a quiz. Study hard. Our Android app, of course, is up and fully functioning with an Apple app on the way. GCPR.live is the place. The music returns to you after we are done at hot101.net, and from 9 o'clock on GCPR, I think is us, sort of, kind of. I think we can run over. I have to ask George every flippin' time we're on the radio what the damn schedule is. No one on after us except T. Nathan is on from 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Anytime I give you a time, just assume it's Eastern Time. 11 p.m. Eastern Time for T. Nathan here at GCPR.live. Thomas returns tomorrow morning. There's a name for Wednesday, and I'm forgetting it, but he returns tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. Our phone line is open, 1-800. Where did that come from? Do you know I almost gave the phone number for my work? For my 50-hour-a-week job. I almost gave that phone number. Not sure why. No idea why. Complete brain cramp. It's funny. Make fun of the old... I should. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? 267-227-9189. 267-227-9189. We are lucky enough to be joined by Solid Blue Sister herself. She is here and in blue. What more do you need? What more do you need? We give you everything on this program. We give you our hearts and souls, really, if you really want to think about it. We're just special people that way. There's really two big topics that I wanted to get into tonight, and they're more on the ethereal, if you will. We'll get George's thoughts, we'll get Lisa's thoughts as we go on. I want to refer to a story that I posted earlier today in the Facebook group, which I hope I can find quickly. That's not it. Okay. This is from Canadian Broadcasting, the CBC. White South African fast-tracked for refugee status arrive in the United States. Afrikaners welcomed by Trump administration, we don't use that word here, we use regime, which is angered by South African land reform law. The Trump regime on Monday welcomed a group of 59 white South Africans as refugees, saying they face discrimination and violence at home, which the country's government strongly denies. I find it funny that if you are olive-skinned in color, brown, black, perhaps escaping violence and discrimination in your home country of throughout Central America, the Dominican Republic, where African Dominicans are discriminated against compared to Spanish Dominicans, you're not a refugee in the eyes of this administration. You don't qualify to be a refugee. But if you're white from South Africa, or really white from anywhere, during the first Trump regime, he complained that there wasn't enough white immigration to the United States. So if you're white, you can be fast-tracked. If you're not white, they don't even follow international law to identify or view you as a refugee. Please remember, it is United States law and international law that when an immigrant presents themselves at the border as a refugee, those claims must be investigated. Now, if it's determined that the person is lying and they're just trying to get into the country, they can be sent back. But if their refugee claim turns out to be true, they are granted residency, not citizenship, but temporary residency. These group of 59 white South Africans who are claiming that their farmland has been taken from them, which the South African government flatly denies. They don't just giggle and laugh and try to deflect the way the United States regime does. They just flat out said, no, these people are lying to you. That's okay, they got fast-tracked, because after all, they're white. If Lisa presented herself at the border as a refugee from Chicago, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding a little bit. But as a refugee from, I'll say Jamaica, or the Dominican, and said that she is a victim of racial discrimination and violence, she'd be turned away by the Trump regime because she's not white like I am. And that's the truth of what happened here. It's not more complicated than that. That's the truth of what happened here. I go back to the article. The decision to admit the Afrikaners also has raised questions from refugee advocates about why they were admitted when the Trump administration has suspended efforts to resettle people fleeing from war and persecution who have gone through years of vetting. Many in the group from South Africa, including toddlers and other small children, even one walking barefoot in pajamas, held small American flags as two officials welcomed them in the United States in an airport hangar outside Washington. The South Africans then left on other flights to various U.S. destinations. I have a deeper theory as to why these folks were allowed in. And I have a deep, well, not so much as to why they were allowed in. And this is where I'll start my discussion with Lisa. My sense is that these folks wanted to come to the United States because of everywhere else on earth that they could have gone. And any country that is a member of the United Nations has in all likelihood signed the international piece of law that says you have to recognize refugees and welcome them until their claim can be investigated. Of all the other places on earth that they could have gone, they chose the United States. I have what is admittedly only a guess, speculation. I think informed speculation, but to be fair, speculation nonetheless. Why did these 59 people choose the United States? Because I happen to think it's the only nation on earth that most closely reminds them of the apartheid South Africa they were used to.
Well, of course, look at who we have in charge. Look at who's occupying the White House.
But I'm wondering on a deeper level, on maybe a more ethereal level, on maybe a more.
The United States was built on racism. It was built. The DNA of the United States is racism. Bottom line, that's never ever going to change.
Maybe I'm misstating the question. Then, what is the feeling? I mean, what does that say to you? Let's assume that my speculation is correct, and it very well may not be. I'm saying that over and over again to be clear. It's quite possible that my speculation is incorrect, but let's assume for the sake of argument that it is. That when this group of people talked about leaving South Africa and all the different countries that they could have gone to, they chose here. And that they chose here because it most closely resembles the South Africa they remember fondly. Not the 90% of the population that's black, but a South Africa that they remember fondly, or at least that their generations before them remember fondly. What does that say to you about the state of the states? What does that say to you on a deeper level as an American about where we find ourselves in a worldview? Where I talk a lot about how you know pointing people toward media from other countries to see what a more independent, what a more dispassionate set of eyes sees when they look inside the United States. If we look at it from that point of view, the outside eyes of these 59 South Africaners, I mean, what does it say? What does it say to you? Anything on a deeper emotional level, or is it strictly just, yep, doesn't surprise me, move on to the next topic?
Okay, I don't know if I'm missing what you're trying to say or not, but to me, if you're looking at white South Afrikaners who are saying that their land was stolen, what have you, and they want to come here. They look at someone like Donald Trump, who is trying to turn this country into a Russia to
make America white again. Yeah.
And they say, well, hey, maybe if we go to America, the land of the free, the home of the white, maybe we can, have what we were supposed to have here.
Or what they think they deserve there. Yeah.
Maybe they think that South Africa is getting too liberal for them. That is not like it was when 70 years, 50, 60, 70 years ago. I think a lot of, not all, but some white South Africans see that South Africa has changed since Nelson Mandela was freed and he became president, and the country changed. Here we have a country that is turning into a regime.
Right, but that's exactly my point. But I think there's I just feel like maybe there's more of an emotional response to this, more of a somewhat removed, maybe not the 10,000 foot view, but a 5,000 foot view of, wow, is this really what we've become? Have we sunk this far that of all the places on the planet that these folks could have gone, and it's not everywhere, let's be honest, they weren't going to the Sudan, were they? But of all the different places that they could have gone under international law, the United Kingdom, France, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Belgium,
but you
Germany.
have a man who is saying, come here, we're going to make America white. We have Project 2025. We've laid it all out, and this is what it's going to be in the next X amount of years.
There's only about a third of it that has not been implemented yet, by the way. We're about 2/3 through.
So, okay.
Maybe I'm just, perhaps
okay,
I'm just not.
Let me be very, very blunt. I worked with a woman up until very recently meaning up until the last 3 years ago, who was from Tennessee. She, at the time, was 87 years old, very set in her ways. And one time when I was working with her, because I was doing some paralegal work for her, she said, yeah, this is what I want to make sure that niggers never get my property. And I looked at her and I said, seriously? Oh, I didn't mean you, but this is how I was raised, so you're just going to have to deal with it. And I said, no, I don't. And I got up and I left, and I haven't seen her since. You have people who so want the old U.S., and you have a man who's willing to try his best to give it to him, who's allowing someone from South Africa who's not even a legal citizen here to come here and totally trash our government. This is, like I said, the United States is rooted in racism. It always will be. So that's the only reason I can see them wanting to come here.
Again, I'm working on supposition. I'm working on the supposition that my supposition is true. Is that, when this group of folks, and I imagine I would have to imagine that they all talk to each other about what to do, where to go, and so on. That if they literally unfolded a map of the planet and talked about different countries, that this is the one that they came through, decided to come to because it most resembles what they lost or think they lost in South Africa. I find that to be a terribly, terribly sobering prospect.
But
that all of us who are listening, watching, reading this story really kind of need to take a step back and think, wow, this is the country, the United States, built on slavery, one of the last to abolish it, fought a war to abolish it, but also still the same country that did manage the New Deal, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Act, put a man on the moon, etc. Where we were to where we've come, which is still not perfect by any means.
Jeff, we've managed all that stuff still amidst all of the hatred and the vitriol. America has not changed. It has not changed. The neighbor, that hated you, before civil rights is
so
the same
why wasn't
neighbor.
there a flood of emigration from South Africa following the fall of apartheid, with the immediate fall of apartheid?
Because I think because at that time they didn't expect Nelson Mandela. They didn't expect. I think South Africa has changed so much in the last 20, 30 years that they, even in the last 10 years, they just didn't expect something that was so rooted, to change. But I question, has South Africa really changed? If you go to some of the poor black, places,
The shanty towns, the ghettos.
So has South Africa really changed? Has it really changed? Or is it just the fact that these 59 people just, don't like what they're seeing and they're panicking? They're saying, "Hey, let's go to the U.S." because the United States has not changed. Yes, slavery has gone away. Yes, civil rights. Black people are able to vote. But we're still living in the same country that we did back in 1920s. We are still living in the same country. I live next door to what used to be a sundown town, and they still act like a sundown town. The United States hasn't changed. The slurs that I get called, it has not changed.
And you're in California, which is not exactly the old Confederacy.
People think that California is so liberal. It's one of the most racist states in the nation. It is. It is one of the most racist states in the nation. But people are like, "Oh, you're in California, and you got those Hollywood people and all." No, it is not. It is not like that.
I'm talking to a Hollywood person right now. I know that.
And you made me bring up, people should check this book out, The Hate Next Door.
Yep, I've heard of it.
Read this book and you will see and understand what I'm talking about. I mean, when I travel, I feel it every single time.
I'm actually going to put that in the
This
chat.
country has not changed. So people wanting to come here, they're saying, "Hey, let me go to America where it's nice and racist, and I'm white, and I'll still be able to be ahead of the person of color." I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over your show.
Done and dusted. We're halfway through. You are watching and listening to the TKE tonight for the 13th of May, 2025. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Our Revolution Pennsylvania, TCP Media Group, Ghost Claw Productions, and of course our home group Facebook page for all things that surround the program, That Other Side of Information. Whoops. And of course the Facebook page of hot101.net. And of course the Facebook group of hot101.net, by the way, is one of the 107 places we were able to share the program to tonight. A special thank you, by the way, to every single person on Facebook who allows us to share our program into your corner of the Facebook universe. If you are an administrator of a group, be it large, small, local, regional, statewide, national, global, political, radio in nature, wherever it might be, however big it might be, however small it might be, if you allow us to be a part of your corner of the Facebook universe, we are eternally grateful to you. We could not do this without you and without your support. The program reaches literally millions of people every time that we are on. I am under no disillusion that I did the math once, that the 4 to 6 million people that we can reach are actually listening to us at any one given point. I'm not nuts, I know they're not, but we can reach those people. And for those of you on the Facebook universe that allow us to be part of your corner of it, you're the ones that make those numbers happen. So thank you very, very much to every individual, every group, large and small, every page, no matter what it's about. If you allow us to be part of your part of Facebook, thank you. We appreciate it very much. Our home group Facebook page for the program is That Other Side of Information. The news stories that we're talking about tonight are posted there. When we are not on the air, the Facebook group continues. We are constantly posting there news stories, memes, topics of discussion, topics to try to generate discussion. Group members can post there. George is an administrator there. That Other Side of Information on Facebook. I would love to get to 1,500 members by the 4th of July. That would be awesome. 4th of July. We can do that, can't we? It's almost 2 months away. 4th of July. No, I think I had said on Sunday my birthday, the first day of summer. But, look, I would just like to get to 1,500. We're over 1,400 now. I would just like to get to 1,500 if possible. So take that. We are live on 2 YouTube channels, the YouTube channel of Ghost Claw Productions Radio, as well as That Other Side of Information. I'm trying to find the phone software. Mouse, wake up. Come on, how many times do I have to click on it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Randall, Jeff. I just want to throw my
Google recognizes you, by the way. It comes up on my screen, bright and enormous. Randall Sampson. I gave away your last name. People are going to start stalking you now.
Yeah,
they're going to start asking you for autographs in the street.
The only reason the only reason the South Afrikaners are coming here is because they're declaring that they're refugees. When all that was going to be done was 90% of the land in South Africa was still owned by the super and number white minority. They were going to do some land redistribution, the government, to make up,
try to make it more fair,
for hundreds of years of racism that the Afrikaners practiced from colonial on until they declared their independence as a racist nation. There's no chance that any other country on this planet, in my opinion, no other country on this planet would even consider them to be refugees. That's why they're coming to America, because we have a white nationalistic, racist, MAGA government in charge now. And yeah, we're taking, you're white. We want to make America totally white again. That's all it is. I disagree with your guest that we haven't come a long ways, because we have come a long ways. Civil rights and the acts that were signed, that Congress passed and were signed into law under President Johnson.
The Kennedy legacy.
Can I ask the guest what is his nationality?
Randall, hang on. Lisa's trying to ask you a question. Hang on one second. Listen up. She's going to ask you a question, and then you answer.
White, Native American, or what? What is your? How do you identify?
Could you?
I'm totally mixed white mutt.
Okay, and I respect that, but as a black person, I have to say no, we have not, because I think that people of color experience things way far and beyond what you do, whether or not we have laws or not. I mean, we have laws that are on the books, but they repeatedly get trampled on. So,
well, I'm sorry, I don't see Jim Crow laws in effect in this country down south. I went to college in the early 70s down south when it was still totally, even though the Civil Rights Act and everything was passed, it was still really segregated, and things have drastically changed down south. So the society has evolved in my lifetime for the good, in my opinion. Are we perfect? No way. Is your situation in California? Yeah, I know that because of redlining, that there are enclaves in LA and other areas in California that keep black people in, those areas for the most part, unless they have a lot of money to get out. I understand your point, but I don't agree with your point that we have not progressed, especially in my almost 73 years lifetime. Because I've witnessed
if everyone cannot progress within, we haven't. We still have Native Americans that are living in abdominal condition. So if everyone cannot move forward within, are we really moving forward? If everyone cannot play from the same playbook is it fair? Can you say that we have, just because you have laws and what have you, and people think, oh my God, we have Obama, we had someone black, but look at all the things that he went through.
Let me ask you
the names.
Let me ask you this:
why he was called?
Why are the two mutually exclusive? Can it not be both? Can it be both, that this country has made at least some modicum of progress, and yet you still face the things that you face every day? Can it not be both?
No, because
it must be one or the other. We've either accomplished nothing, or
you can't have some people taking 2 steps forward and another person only being able to take 1 step, and then the other person not being able to take any steps at all. It's not fair. This country, the way it is set up, is for white people to always get the upper hand. And like they said, you can take the lowly white person, and they'll still think that they're better than the highest black person. You have black women who are the most educated in this country, the most educated.
But I don't think anybody's disputing that. What I'm asking you is,
we're still treated as though we're less than. So if everyone can't move forward together, then have we really progressed?
Is perfect the enemy of the good?
Well, there's no such thing as perfect.
Completely misses the spirit of the question, but that's fine.
And I apologize for talking over your caller. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Any last thoughts you got, Randall, before I move on to the next topic of the day, please?
No, that's fine. I just, I went to a...
And disagreement's good, by the way. It's healthy. Debate is good.
I went to the first private college outside of Asheville to be integrated in the Deep South.
Wow, that's right. I forgot you had mentioned. You had told me that before, and I do a wow every time you say that. Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
Black student in 1954, and I was born in '52, so that tells you how long ago it was. But my peer group when I was there, we were all poor whites, we were all poor blacks, we were all poor Asians, we were all poor Africans, we were all poor South Americans. And everybody except me has really progressed economically in their life, masters, PhDs,
right,
etc. So I personally have seen and friends with people for over 50 years that have overcome things. So I'll let you go on that, and have a good one,
You
Jeff.
take care of yourself. We'll talk Thursday, okay? You stay healthy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
The other topic I really wanted to get to tonight was the continuing fascination of the media over this polling data that shows the rather universal, such as it is, displeasure that the American electorate is showing with this regime. I continue to be fascinated by the gloating of it. I do think there's a place for "I told you so" in this current state of things. Does it accomplish much? Probably not. Does it make any friends? Probably not. But there is some room for "I told you so." The senior citizens who voted for this regime, knowing that they were going to take Social Security and Medicare away from you. The 60% of veterans who voted for this regime, who are having the VA taken completely away from them, while somehow at the same time trying to increase military spending to $1 trillion a year, but cut the entire VA. To the teachers and parents who voted for this regime, knowing that they would eliminate the Department of Education, which they more or less have done, except for the student loan collection department, that's still fully functioning. We are seeing negative polling over the Trump regime into the 60s and 70s of percentage points, depending on the different issue that you're talking about. MSNBC is absolutely gleeful over it. But what does it really matter when the regime itself doesn't give a toss what you think or what you believe or how you feel about the job that they're doing? 2/3 of Project 2025 has already been implemented, and we're just over 100 days in to the first year of a 4-year regime. So what does the polling data really matter at this point? What does it mean? Means people are pissed off? Okay, I'm good with that. I'm pissed off too. I'm sure Solid Blue Sister's pissed off. George is pissed off. But at the end of the day, if the regime doesn't pay attention to any of these polls or pay attention to you, what does it matter? There was a very odd, very strange piece of positivity today. Josh Hawley, the fascist senator from Missouri. And let's just be blunt about who he is. He's a fascist. He wishes he was Trump. He wishes he had Trump's power. That man wants to be president so bad, I'm not sure how he sleeps. He can't be comfortable in his own skin with that level of ambition. But even he said today that cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, or eliminating the programs altogether, which is what the actual end game of Project 2025 is, to end these programs, not just cut them, but to end them. He said is political suicide, and that even he can't support throwing millions of seniors and children into early death because they can't see a doctor, or into financial ruin because they go to see a doctor and can't afford it. But the regime doesn't care. They don't care what he thinks. Here's one of their staunchest supporters, a United States senator, and they don't care what he thinks. We've seen them ignore the courts. So what do these polls really, really mean? We turn back to our honored guest, who's somebody who's a hell of a lot smarter than this guy. What do these polls really mean then? Solid Blue. What does it mean if 2/3 of the people in the country are pissed off about these unlawful ICE raids, just as an example? Upwards of 70% are upset, completely disapprove of what's coming to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. If the administration is going to completely ignore them, and if Congress is going to abdicate nearly all of its authority, then what do those polls matter?
They should matter, because I wonder, will all the people who are pissed off, all the people who voted for this person, are they going to turn into some of these other countries where the person sitting in the big house really should have been listening, because the people may come for them, and I'm just going to leave it like that.
Do you mean the big house is in prison, or because we know he's not going to prison?
No, I'm saying that how some of these people have ended up.
Right, I understand.
So
I know what you mean.
Maybe they should listen, because the United States is a barbaric state. We have people here who do things that are absolutely horrible, whatever, and I think that the end of this regime is going to be this from the people who put him there. That they're going to get so pissed off that they can't see a doctor. That they go to the bank and their money's not there anymore. I'm not getting my raise, I'm fired. Whatever. You're going to push those people just a little bit too far, because they're already crazy.
Here's a couple of numbers I wanted to throw out to both of you to see what you think. The proposed new round of Trump tax cuts would be $4.5 trillion. By the time the tax cuts expire, in real inflation-adjusted dollars, it would be somewhere between $6 to $8 trillion. It might be 4.5 on the book if the legislation was passed today, but when we look out into the future and calculate, the expected inflation rate and so on, it would be $6 to $8 trillion. To help offset that cost, they plan to take $880 billion away from Medicaid. But also at the same time, we're going to increase defense spending from $879 billion to a nice, lovely, rounded, even $1 trillion per year. Now, I know that some people will gloss over when a bunch of numbers are thrown at them, and sometimes I can understand that myself. I tend to gloss over. Those are three numbers that I think are completely indicative of what Project 2025 is all about. Why it was written, why it's being implemented. Either of the two of you, when you hear those numbers, what does it... I know Lisa was shaking her head, but what does... And maybe the head shake is probably all the words you need. But what do those numbers mean to you? What do they say to you? Do they matter? Do the numbers themselves actually matter? Or is it the spirit behind them?
George, I'm going to let you take this one because I'm just pissed.
All right, thank you. Well, the $400 million gift that Trump got from the Saudis,
the Qataris,
the aircraft, Qatar,
the Qataris,
the Qatarians, does not have all the implementations that Air Force One does. If that's going to be Air Force One,
it needs another $100 million in retrofitting, which would
more.
probably take at least. I've saw some reporting today. It would take roughly 2 years.
Yeah, because Air Force One, is made to keep the government functional, like during a nuclear war. It, I forgot what the stats were on it. I had all the stats on it, but anyway, there were encrypted phone lines, all this other stuff they can have. There's Wi-Fi, and all this other, things that they have. And it can stave off missile attacks, either radar guided missiles. So
radar,
that's
elusive,
where
things like that.
So that's where the defense spending budget is going to come in. I don't think we're going to. I did hear a rumor where Elon was supposed to create cyber trucks for the military.
They already have a contract for $400 million in cyber trucks for the military. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Which is exactly what you want your personnel fighting in when the body panels are falling off. That sounds like a combat vehicle to me.
Well, they're glued on. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they use. I don't know. Maybe they use stronger military glue. I don't know.
Gorilla glue.
There you go. Gorilla glue.
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal. Oh.
Just saying.
It's waterproof. I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
But so yeah.
Randall says in the chat he had read that it would take $250 million to retrofit. Regardless of whether it's 100 or 250, I think kind of exactly makes the point.
Why don't they
Here's
just
the bottom line.
Well,
accepting the plane is a violation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
But then again, when has this regime shown any respect for the Constitution? Donna mentions in the chat, I personally meaning Donna, think that Trump is trying to get a pure white nation. I don't think he'll succeed. There are too many white people that have mixed blood that no one can tell. My skin is white. My ancestors are native or indigenous, black, English, and Irish. We are, it kind of goes into what Randall was saying about us all being mutts.
So what? Wait, all right. So, in that vein, what nationality is pure white?
Well, right.
Pure white, it doesn't exist in this country.
Right.
And this country has never been all white because Native Americans were here first.
Correct.
I understand. Yes, that is true.
So,
that is true.
And
Right.
then, the intermixing and everything, you're never going to have. I mean, unless you kill everyone, including yourself.
Yeah.
And God starts over, whomever you think God is or whoever you think created the world. I mean, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as pure black, pure Latino. There isn't.
Goodness, sorry. My meds are kicking in. I'm still on so many meds after the surgery. No, we are, and that's what these boundaries are so artificial, and they're so arbitrary. There are certain things that I could think of that if we were to say them out loud, most people, regardless of skin color, would say are just ridiculous. What if we decided to completely try to erase from society anyone, male or female, or trans, anybody that happens to be 5'2" and under? What if we decided that George will remember this? There's a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode where, as soon as they come to a planet where when everybody hits their 60th birthday, they have to commit suicide.
Oh, yeah.
What if we did? I think it was 60. What if we just decided that along with this othering that we're doing, that we suddenly begin to put out there into the ether that really anybody 75 or older really should just take themselves out. We don't need to put up. These people are a drain on society. Those two ideas that I just put out there are so ludicrous and so ridiculous. I think pretty much to anybody with any level of sanity whatsoever. But that othering is no different when you're talking about trying to erase trans people. Or the quiet whispers in the white soccer mom suburbs of black people from the city are coming to get you. That othering we seem to accept. But the two ridiculous examples that I put out there, we would all generally think were pretty damn ridiculous. My point, which I hope I have not lost, is to try to demonstrate the ridiculousness, how arbitrary, how conflated, how created from nothingness this othering is. Lisa doesn't want anything different than I want in life. She wants to be able to take care of her family, roof over her head, safe neighborhood, good schools, good job. We're not stupid. If I won $1 billion lottery, I wouldn't be upset. Trust me, I would not be upset. But I don't wake up and pining every single morning that I have to be mega monster rich. I just want to keep a roof over my head. I want to be healthy. I want to be safe. I want good schools. That's all. I'm sure she feels the same way. I'm sure George feels the same way. This othering, this manufactured othering, when do we finally get to the point that we realize how arbitrary and ridiculous it is? How about red hair? My wife has red hair. Well, the red-haired people, they're a lot of trouble. We would think it was ridiculous.
is it really ridiculous when you have someone like Hitler who pretty much, what he did to over 6 million people? What he tried to do? And I mean, is it really ridiculous that
Was it any less arbitrary? He found a group that most people already were suspicious of and blew those suspicions out of proportion and turned them into a crime simply through propaganda.
right?
But was it any less arbitrary?
In those few years, though, look at the damage that he caused.
I'm not disputing that. You're missing the point. Is the othering of those folks any less arbitrary than it was to the gypsies?
Well, no.
Okay. That's my only point.
Okay, no.
That's my only point.
Okay, all right.
If we took a group of people and said that they're under 5 feet, because they're under 5 feet in height, they're the enemy. They need to be erased.
I wish I was under 5
they're
feet.
Suspicious.
I can get pants off the rack. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. George cannot buy off the rack. They're suspicious. They're the other. This current regime isn't just trying to other trans people. They're trying to erase them. For what real reason? None that anybody can put anything on. It's completely arbitrary. It's propaganda. It's a group of people that the majority does not understand, does not have anything, or at least they think they don't have anything in common with. So and there's not a lot of them. At a max, they're probably 3% of the population. So they're easy to target. That's my point. But do trans people want anything different than any of the three of us here want? Keep a roof over their head, good job they can pay the bills with, and maybe take a vacation once or twice a year, safe neighborhood, good schools, be able to see and afford a doctor. But because they're othered, arbitrary, propaganda-driven, othered, they have somehow become an enemy. I am sometimes lost by the arbitrary, by the conflation of it, by the propaganda of it. It just doesn't click. Maybe the reason it doesn't click to me is the same reason why some people are dog people and some people are cat people. I can't understand that either. You love souls or you don't. But I don't understand the propaganda and the conflation of it. Anyway, we have 3 minutes left. Anything, Lisa, that you wanted to throw out into the atmosphere before we sign off and I can get out of this chair? God in heaven, I hate this chair. I really do need to buy a chair. George, anything that you want to throw out there? Or I need to take the chair from over there and hope that it feels...
Dump Trump. That's all I have to say. Dump Trump.
Will you be taking part in any upcoming demonstrations? Will you be out in the public where people would see you and you can say you don't do any of the demonstrating?
Not anymore. I'm sitting this one out, and since I do not celebrate the 4th of July,
Understood.
And I never have, I will not be out doing anything like that. I will be at home.
And of course, we forgot to mention the cost of the. I'm forgetting at the moment, but the estimated cost of the so-called military parade that's supposed to be happening on his birthday. I have forgotten. I know it was. I think that was in the $90 million range. But we don't have $90 million. By the way, would feed and house all the homeless veterans in the country. But a military parade's a little bit better. George, anything you want to throw out there before we say goodnight?
Every time I look at the news, I think of the old Star Trek episode, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, the one with the planet Charon.
Yep.
With the aliens, with the white side of the face and the black side of the face.
Exact. That, and you know what? I probably should have thought about that, because that's the arbitrariness I think I was trying to explain, and it didn't happen. If you haven't seen the episode, it's original series. If you're not a science fiction fan, you don't need to be one to watch this. It's a planet where there are folks who are literally well, they this was the 1960s, so they used body paint that were split right down the center, bright white on one half, completely black on the other, and then the other race of people were white on the right side, black on the left, and they had fought a war that there were literally only two people left on the planet, and eventually they did nothing but fight each other. That's the kind of arbitrariness I think I was trying to express, and I think I did a very poor job of it. So maybe I need to go back to the drawing board and work on this stuff a little bit. But anyway, 9 p.m. That's all the time we have for tonight. For everyone at hot101.net, that's DJ Lex, DJ Earl, and the entire hot101.net family. The music returns right after I click the button, because I forgot to say first that we will return to you Thursday night at 8 p.m. For now, the music returns. We hope to see you on Thursday, 8 p.m. here on hot101.net. Right now, the music returns. For GCPR, we will return to you Thursday at 8 p.m. Please remember that following us, 11 p.m., you got a 2-hour break. Walk the dog, get a snack, watch... Wait, it's Tuesday, so it would be Jen Psaki. Or turn on NPR, catch the ball game, catch up on the scores, whatever you need to do.
Or on Disney Plus.
Yep, do that. Or watch the Star Trek episode that we just recommended. You could do that too. And return back here 11 p.m. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11 p.m. Thomas returns tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. For Thomas and Gambit, who was kind enough to join the chat this evening, and... who else? And Gilbert, and just everybody at GCPR. Well, Solid Blue Sister, of course, she's right in front of me. And everybody at GCPR, Pastor Best and Pastor Clinton, and everybody of the GCPR family. For right now, the Auto DJ takes over for 2 hours. T. Nathan from 11, Thomas tomorrow morning at 8. We will see you again Thursday evening from 8 p.m. Until then, take care. And for everybody on our video streaming, thank you for being part of us, part of our program again tonight. Thank you to Randall for calling. Thank you to everybody who put a comment in the chat. Our plan is to be back with you Thursday from 8 p.m. and then Sunday from 6 p.m. for our big 3-hour extravaganza this Sunday, the 17th. No, the 18th. That would be the 18th from 6 p.m. So for everybody that surrounds the program, for Solid Blue Sister, who did me a huge favor by allowing us to, by stealing an hour of her time here, and especially since she's on the West Coast, still only 6 p.m. there, she's got a whole night of fun and frivolity to look forward to yet. My night is ending, hers is just starting, but we stole an hour of her life, an hour she will never get back. And we are glad that she was with us again here tonight. And you are always welcome here, my dear. Always, always, always. For George, you're crazy for doing it. I know you are. You're absolutely mental for doing it. There's no question about it. For Lynn and George, for Kristen and Daisy the dog, and of course for April Riddick, who brought this whole program to you. I'm Jeff Kennedy. We'll see you again Thursday. This Thursday, the 15th, from 8 p.m. We'll see you again Sunday from 6 p.m. for a big